Ladies and gentlemen, this is Jojin Movie So Awesome. I'm Joe.
I'm One Jin.
Today we're going to talk about Season 4 Succession, Episode 5. Spoilers ahead, full spoilers. You have been warned. Please come back later. Here we go. You know, this was the best episode for me this season.
Really?
Yeah. I can't believe the tension. Like, looking back, like episode 1 and 2 were just like fast forwarding to Logan's death. They were just checking the boxes, like getting us, up back to work on, like reminding us of what happened in season 1, 2, 3, what Logan's significance is, and then his death comes, boom, and then since episode 3, every one of these have been about like a single event. And that I think
like a wedding or a birthday.
Exactly. And this one's a meeting, right? Basically, they get on the plane, they get off the plane, and they're going back. So it's almost like in that resort, everything happens. And the tension of this episode was fantastic from the very start.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree.
And it answered a lot of our questions from the last one on Logan's funeral, because it turns out Roman and Kendall are trying to push Shiv out a little, and it turns out Shiv knows that and is maneuvering. And this episode, I take my hats off to Shiv. Because this is why I think you told me one time the power is ever shifting, and we remember Logan's line from season 3: "Nothing is a line. Everything is always changing. Get used to it." And he fucking hangs up like a boss.
Yeah.
But here, remember last scene, Shiv fell down. Don't fucking touch me. Stop smiling. But oh man, she's on vengeance mode. She is. I think because of Logan's death, we're seeing the true potential of each kid.
Yeah, that's true. And like you said, Logan's shadow looms very heavily over these children. Yeah. But in this episode, we see how each of these siblings, the Ken, Roman, and Shiv, are different. And we also see their fortes. Yeah. Especially Shiv's. Yeah. And this episode reminded me of, I think, the first season of Succession, where she was working as like a political consultant. Yeah. Yeah.
No, because as long as they don't have this emotional, but we're going to talk about Roman later. There was an emotional weight, but I think Shiv, when she's not thinking about her father, like she's always been manipulative. But the problem was she was also a little vindictive. Yeah. Some of her moves didn't really gain her anything long term. But here, I like two things about her. One is that she spared Tom because she sees his utility. Because he can be an ally. That's right. And I love how Kendall is so, he smiles and fuck him up. Like, because they're gift wrapping it as like a gift, but it's actually like a poison pill because it allows them to use Shiv's anger towards Tom to get rid of a political, like a inconvenience. Someone who's like to them a snitch,
and without putting blood on their hands.
Exactly. But I love Shiv's face. Hey, the Emmy goes to the Tom actor because he's been listening in the whole time, and when he gives that chicken eye, like am I gonna get fucked up eye? That was the most funniest scene of this entire season for me. I was like, his eyes like it almost seemed Greggish. Like he almost seemed like Greg. Am I gonna get bitch cut? And Shiv smiles and she walks away, and Tom's like, fuck that bitch. Like that was like the best scene out of the whole thing. Wow. But I mean that's my two cents on Shiv. So like I think and she was very observant too. When it came to the negotiation with Matsson, I think she found like the weaknesses really, like she wasn't in the room, but she read it really quickly.
That's right. And
then she pounced too, because Matsson was giving her footsie vibes, right? Let's have a side date over there. And then I thought she handled herself really well, like her father, in the fact that, Matsson's jokes like, you're like your father, you're not judgy. Like, fuck you, first of all. But she's calm and composed. she gets down to business first. And this was very different from the siblings, the two brothers, by the way, which was interesting to me, which was very interesting.
Yeah. And we get this surprising, well, not surprising, but extra detail on Matsson. And what I like about this episode is after the last episode, I was wondering, how will the writers keep momentum after Logan's death? And I love how the writers in this episode quickly set up new devices for the plot to progress, including this detail about Matsson and what's her name, Ebba.
Yeah,
Ebba. I mean, we saw like this very open, surprisingly open and vulnerable conversation between Matsson and Shiv. And within that, I mean, Shiv was very composed hearing him out, but some of the details that he let out, these can be used against him in the near future.
Well, I think that remains to be seen, because it's Logan's favorite trick too. Logan pretends to like pull his shield down, and it's what the kids do too, you know. So I don't know how that plays though. I think the show, this episode, wants us to think what you just thought. But here's the thing though, there has to be a benefit for Shiv to reveal that. For her to reveal that, she it's not good for her either, because she wants this to go through. And we predicted last time that Matsson would want ATN2 included now, right? And we were right on the money, because that's both a power play and actually a business play. Because like, if you're already spending $14 billion, why not add 3 to 4 more to get the whole thing? It is a very common sense thing. And I think by episode 7 or like 8, maybe that can be a problem. But right now, there is no incentive for Shiv to reveal that.
Yeah, and since she's a seasoned political consultant, I'm pretty sure she's going to keep this up her sleeves until the time comes for her to use it as a leverage. We just don't see how it's going to play out for now.
No, and here's another thing. Shiv has a lot of leverage against the siblings, too. Kendall, remember, accidentally caused the death of the
waiter dude.
Yeah, and Roman is dick pic Roman. Like, I mean, if you think about it, if you really think about it, when I first heard Matsson's story, it was a little disturbing. But that being said, after I watched the whole episode, I went, well, none of these people are saints. Remember, Tom used to have people as stools?
Yeah.
And then, remember, the whole Roy family knew about Uncle Molester. So, like, I mean, like, if you think about it, is this a big problem for these people? They probably like seen all kinds of shit already. I mean, Logan. What I love about Logan is you can kind of like, this is just my speculation, but his silence on a lot of things just shows me that he's seen a lot of shit. Like, he's like not emotional about it. Okay, what else? Okay, you're secretly a serial killer. Okay, whatever. Can we do business now? But anyway, Shiv was a very great. I love how it kind of mirrors the last episode, because last episode we saw Shiv defeated, but here we see her, you know, mischievous smile.
It also reminded me of Ken. You know, like I think 2 episodes or 3 episodes ago, the episode ended with Ken smiling.
Yeah, that was the right one before, when he was
it was the episode before Logan died. Yeah,
strap on Hugo. But anyway, that's our 2 cents on Shiv. But let's talk about the brothers. Wow.
Yeah. And as I was watching the episode, I was constantly reminded of what you said about Logan's shadow looming over them. Because Matsson at one point says in a conversation that after their father's death, it seems like they don't know what they want. And it's probably one of the reasons why Ken came up with the idea of tanking the deal. Because I remember when Logan was alive, I think he told one of his children that it's a good deal. We have to get it done.
Well, I see it this way though, but you also have to remember Ken said this to Roman. Roman said this was Dad's deal. And what would Dad do? And Kendall says whatever the fuck he wants, which is true.
Yeah, but I couldn't help shake off the feeling that they're still thinking about what Dad would want, what Dad would do.
Now, here's the thing, though. One of the most interesting conversation was actually for me on the outside, on the grass, and the GoJo guys are making fun of Greg. But Kendall shows leadership here again because he at least protects his troops. That reminded me a lot of Logan says, "Is someone making fun of Frank? I get to be nasty to Frank, but nobody else." It's like that twisted loyalty thing. So even though Greg is a piece of shit,
he's my bitch, not yours.
Exactly. So Ken is a boss in that, but I love the conversation there before because I felt Matsson was yes, he is a Logan stand-in in this episode. He did show charisma and a viciousness sort of too, but I felt like he kind of lacked the. I think Kendall was right when he said he doesn't understand ATN because there's a reason why Logan can sell his theme parks and everything else, but not ATN because the media business is a human business. It has nothing to do with data, analytics, and stuff like that. It's one of those things, and I felt the episode did a great job on hinting at your point about Matsson probably being right. You don't know what you want. There's this power play, and the kids does seem confused. But at the same time, they show insight on what their business actually is, especially when it comes to ATN. Because ATN is a political machine. The cash is it's like the perfect marriage between Washington and it's not something that I think data things and those things work. And I thought Ken and Roman had a good point on their back and forth with Matsson. And Matsson is not Logan Roy. He shows frustration really fast.
Yeah.
Because I felt Logan. Because let's give credit to Logan. When he gets pissed off, it's not an 11, it's a 12. It's like, fuck you, suck my dick. It's like
remember the pure steel.
Yeah, he's not petty. He's like petty on another level. It's like, fuck you, and then he's waiting on the fucking plane. He doesn't show his cards. It is a tactic, but I felt Matsson was kind of lacking in that part because he showed frustration, and Kendall kind of talked back right away. I'm already rich. I'm trying to make you rich, and I think Shiv, she's very manipulative. I was reminded of the Roman dick pic episode because she senses weakness really quickly. So she's like, "Is everything okay?" And Matsson's like, "Yeah, everything's okay.
Everything's cool."
Yeah. But emotionally weak was Roman this time.
Yeah,
because from the very first minute, you can tell he's getting annoyed by Matsson really a lot, right? Like I felt like
we could tell that he was holding grudges against Matsson for making them come to Norway so early after his father's death. And I'm pretty sure he was thinking that was very inconsiderate. And of all the siblings, we can tell that Roman would be most upset because after all, he was showing he was showing a lot of affection openly about his father after his father's death.
And it turns out his funeral statement was a lie. He said he was pre-grieved, right? But no,
he's still grieving. We can tell.
He's just in denial a little bit. And from the very first negotiation, there were 3 negotiation scenes, right? But the first one, near the view
resort,
I think the camera did fantastically because every time Matsson says something they don't like Rome gets more and more annoyed. Kendall actually does a great poker face. I felt, and as time goes on, you can tell Roman is getting frustrated, and then the blow comes when Connor stupidly sends the picture of their dad's corpse, which is probably dried up, by the way.
Yeah, he was talking about embalming him or something. Yeah.
But you know what I liked about Roman's explosion to Matsson?
Yeah.
You know what? If there was any doubt that Roman was Logan Roy's son, that scene just proved it because Logan Roy was an emotional motherfucker too. Remember that scene on what's that? A fancy pants a resort thing he goes to. And the Pierce chairman refuses. And Logan says, "This is a great deal. This is not over." And then he basically runs to the car like emotional gunship mode. So, if you think about it, Logan is not as infallible as people say. He is an emotional being.
Yeah, we're seeing him. So we're still seeing him through his kids.
Yeah, and Roman's like vindictive side, like it is his father though. Even the way he threatens him.
Yeah.
Like it's such a like how his father would threaten.
So
like,
even if you do this, I'm gonna tell this, blah 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 blah. Fuck you.
Yeah, it's a very like his father's style threat. I felt like Matsson was wrong when he said your father will be disappointed. He's like, no, I think at least Logan would recognize Roman as a killer. And like he didn't. And the thing I liked about Roman thing was, and Ken's such a great brother. He says nothing, right? Maybe it plays. So I mean, they're just ready to take a hit and go back. But remember, because Logan lost all the time too. If you think about it. Since season 1 and season 3, we're seeing a decline of a mogul.
That's right.
In a way.
And it's exactly why they're selling their business.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, if they were doing so well, why would they sell?
Right. But anyway, that was a great scene. You little dog man, you. I hate you.
But what I also loved about that scene was Matsson's reaction. Remember, like, as Roman was telling him all those things, he was taking a piss. And I love his sneer and that mocking face as he heard all those things, and I love the line that came out from Matsson as well. What did he say? You fucked up?
You fucked yourself.
Oh, you just fucked yourself. Did you hear that?
No, but you could argue that he won, but I would say this though. But remember, once Ken and Rome leaves, the camera also spans to him, and he's not happy about it. And I felt like that camera scene and Matsson's revenge was showing what a whole joke this whole shit is. It really is about ego too in Matsson. He can pretend all he wants that he is a honcho like Logan Roy, but he's relatively younger, and he's also being vindictive.
And basically, you can tell that he's, in a sense, spend more money just for that ego fight, that big dick fight. And I think it's kind of proving, he's trying to prove that he gets whatever he wants.
That's part of it. But it was smart to go to the board with 192. But here's the prediction here. Because now Roman and Kendall are going to start doing crazy shit to sour the deal. So I think, because they want it to fail. And Shiv wants it. So I think what we're going to see in the next episode is a complete fuck show. Like it's heading there because, I love the ending music too. It's such a foreboding music.
I can't help but think that ever since Logan's death, the music kind of changed.
It's more warlike.
Yeah.
But I do feel like we're going to get something like Kendall's birthday episode. Because Kendall and Roman now, they have to... The board wants it, the shareholders wants it, right? But Kendall and Roman doesn't want it. So they have to, poison the well. Because they showed that movie to, make Luke pissed off and not want to buy the studio.
It was like an attempt to, like, sabotage their own deals.
Yeah. It's like basically the opposite of trying to acquire Pierce is you're trying to make yourself look bad so you don't buy us. So what do they have to do? They have to fuck up even more now. And in public. So I think Kendall and Roman will actually be really good at it, because they're already fuck up. So let's show a strategic. Because think about
strategic fuck up.
Yeah, they already knifed his father, publicly humiliate him a little after his death, which is smart strategy. Because you don't want your father to overshadow you all the time. If your father is this god, then obviously the shareholders think like you can't replace him, but you want him to be human. So here, I think Kendall and Roman will start doing intentional crazy shit. And I think here's the worst thing. Like, once they fuck up, though, if they go too far, they undermine their whole, like, company. It could go to a point where it can't be repaired if the deal falls
and
through.
Nobody's willing to buy it.
Exactly. Like, if they don't... Like, GoJo not buying you is not the problem. You still have to be able to maintain your business. But if the share price goes down too much and just everything falls apart, and let's be honest, the presidency might not go his way too.
That's something that's happening adjacently along the plot line.
I think the problem is people are too assuming that he will become president, but he might not. You know, the thing about campaign and presidency is it's a fucking coin toss.
It's very unpredictable.
So if they get a Democratic president, ATM might get fucked up, like lit up for all the things they did. So like it's like I think we are gonna see even more escalation. Like up to episode 7, 8, 9. This is not gonna relent. It's gonna become more chaotic. And Shiv is going to have to maneuver everything.
Yeah. And we can clearly see that Matsson's up for the challenge. And we're still unclear about the capabilities of his staff. I mean, we know all the goons on the Roy side, but we're not exactly... We've just been introduced to who these guys are. And apparently I quite like them.
Yeah.
Oscar? What was his name? Sauna. Yeah.
And, Neil Habsburg inbred Habsburg giant. Such like creative insults. But my favorite was Carl. Tom must be on the list. Like, why is he not on the list? No, but Shiv was very smart too. She basically saved Carolina, Jerry, and Tom.
Yeah, that's true.
By aligning with Matsson. And I think she intentionally did that because Jerry is against Roman now.
Yeah.
And Tom is, of course, against Kendall and Roman now. Because if he has to choose a side, he's going to choose his wife. And he heard Kendall just say, I'm going to cut your throat. So, and then Carolina, I think, Carolina is what I call a neutral. Like, you never, like, she's like a best player in that she...
Remember the last episode when Hugo and Carolina were gently suggesting that maybe they like drag their father's legacy through the mud, and what was it? Roman basically says, so yeah, Operation Fuck That, and Carolina, she insists like, no, that's not what we meant, and blah 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 blah, and like you say, she's a very neutral, very careful player.
Yeah, she's and. I mean, she does plenty of bad, but it's not like Hugo, where Hugo is like an open piece of shit. Like, you know, Roman said, "Thank you, Carolina. You too, fuckface." Like, but I don't know though, because remember the kill list only works if the acquisition goes through.
That's true.
So I think Frank and Carl still may have a role to play, and
I also believe Jerry. Well, I'm quite curious what, like you said. Shiv managed to get some of these people out of the kill list.
No, here's the thing. Listen to me, Wanjin. Now they know that they're going to be fired, right? Kendall and Roman can approach them and say, let's keep the company so they can keep their job. So I don't know about Carl. Carl seemed very happy to get you know,
retirement.
Retirement. But these are greedy people, and Kendall and Rome, there can be a natural faction line now. Those who are in threat of losing their job, why would they want the acquisition? It has nothing to do with them. They're not getting the 19 billion, like 192 per share. They're not getting that deal. I'm pretty sure that's worth like 20 billion or something, because they just added 30% more from 144. But Kendall and Rome, if they're smart, they would want Frank and Hugo and what's that Ray, that piece of shit Ray. I don't know what he did, but everybody calls him a piece of shit. And Mark. And get them and make a alliance. And Sid too. If Tom fires Sid,
that's right. Sid is in danger at the moment.
Yeah, then if I'm Kendall and Roman, I will see that as a direct attack, and if I was Roman, I'll go to Sid and I'll say I got your back and make it a whole fucking horse race.
Oh yeah, now that you say it, now I can see like the Civil War looming. Yeah.
Look, because that kill list was kind of a mistake, because like you don't need to tell them who's gonna get fired. Like I don't know. I'm sure it's like a leak. I mean, Greg is actually a great investigator. Like he's actually very good at getting the vibes. So I don't know, but if I was Hugo, I'm not going nowhere. I don't care about this deal. Like I need to survive. I don't know if I'm gonna get another job, so I'm gonna stick to Kendall, my daddy Kendall. And if I'm Carl, Ray, and Frank, we're like, except Frank, I kind of like Frank actually. But Carl, I like him because he's a complete sycophant. Like he's
very true to himself.
Yeah, he's basically Hugo's upgraded version. He's a little bit more classy with manicures and whorehouse resumes on his back. So I don't know. I think that's what's gonna happen. That's my 2 cents. So this episode has really pumped up the excitement factor even more. Even more.
Even after Logan's death. Because I was quite concerned. It's like, how they're going to pull through this.
Yeah.
And now I see that we have a lot to look forward to.
Yeah. We'll see what happens, though. I think Jerry is, like, the most dangerous.
Yeah.
Jerry is definitely the most dangerous.
Because throughout season... wait a minute. This is season 4. Yeah, season 3 and 4. We've seen how competent she is.
Oh, yeah. I mean, she's a survivor. She's almost like a perfect CEO.
Yeah, I think she's like the most competent senior executive in the entire the group.
Yeah.
And one more thing before we end. Another thing I really liked about this episode was the subtle depiction of the uneasiness that everyone was feeling. Like you said, not just the siblings, but also the management, as they approach the resort and they're getting food and they're being introduced to these guys. And we could tell that it's very awkward. Everybody's uncomfortable about it. I love the subtlety of how they express this whole thing.
But you make... Because if it was Logan, I think he would refuse. Because if you expose your executives like that, you're exposing them to be have political play, just like Tom played. Remember, Tom immediately says, if you want to know any dirt, get to me, bitch, Ozak. So like, if you're an executive, you don't want your executives mingling with their executives, actually. I mean, it depends on your, like, management style, I guess. Some people will like that, but Logan didn't seem the type like that. He likes his cronies the way they are. And so I thought that was already a weakness, but of course, the negotiating team, they did concede that we just want to look good, so let's concede this. But I think Matsson also played too much of an asshole. Like, if you really think about it, the question is, do you really want this deal? So let's answer that question by Matsson. Then why are you doing so much power play? Like, everyone's already in agreement, and then like he exposed his own flaws too. He's the one who says it's about the money, right? Is it though? You sure seem emotional about it too. You sure seem like
it just feels like you're just trying your best to bend these brothers to your will.
Yeah, like some big dick. Like were those insults necessary? Really about like the tribute band?
Yeah, tribute band.
Like, cause like I don't think Logan went that far. Like, remember his deal with Pierce? He only becomes himself once he knows this is not going his way. Before that, he's like, well, yeah, nice. And then once they cross the line, he goes,
fuck you.
Yeah, beast mode. But he doesn't do like beast mode regularly. Remember, even when they first meet CEO Rhea, he's actually very political. He's very neutral. He only shows his beast mode once he knows it's not going his way. So he has to take that risk.
Yeah.
But I felt like Matsson was doing too much of a power play. Like, too much. Like, if I was Kendall, I would be a little insulted.
Yeah.
Like, who the fuck do you think you are? Oh, okay. Because Kendall was right. But anyway, let's give it a grade to this wonderful episode.
I would give this episode a 9. Oh. I really liked it.
And I'm going to give a 9.5. It was like from start to finish. I think this was even better than the last episode. Like the tension, because it's just this. I think this episode just had more conflict in it.
Yeah,
it was escalation of conflict,
and it was dropping all these like interesting new plot devices.
Yeah.
And also, I love the detail they give to these the side characters as well. They were sometimes humorous, like Carl.
Yeah. I mean, if you're thinking about it, the 3 negotiations, polite but starting to insulting, and it goes full insult. So there was a great, like, I felt like a great, because that is the main point of this episode. And I loved how it kept breaking down, and everybody's all too human. They have to reveal it. And I even like Matsson being an asshole going helicopter first.
Yeah, and they get to take the cable car.
Yeah, that reminded us a lot of Logan, right? Because remember, he
being
had that
petty, yeah.
But anyway, 9.5. We can't wait for the next episode.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's our
take.
Our take on episode 5 of season 4. If you like our stuff, please press like and subscribe. And we'll be back with episode 6 next week. Thank you so much. This has been Joji Movie So Awesome. I was Joe.
I was Wonjin.
We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.